Oof. Okay. Are you nervous again?
Yeah, I'm like, when will I get over my stage fright?
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Board Game Buzz. My name is Carly.
And I'm Kim.
And today we are going to be reviewing the 2 to 4 player game Furnace from Arcane Wonders. In Furnace, players will take on the role of 19th century capitalists that are building corporations and trying to basically make the most money.
The game is played in 4 rounds, and each round has 2 phases, auction and production.
Before we dive into our thoughts on this game, though, we are going to be giving you a really quick overview of how this game plays, and then we'll come back here and we'll share our thoughts on Furnace. So here we have a 2-player game set up for Furnace. Now, I want to start off by saying that this mat here is actually not included in the base game. If you just purchase the base game, no mat or board of any kind is included in this game. So this is an additional purchase. That's just something that I wanted to make very clear at the beginning of this overview. Now, like I mentioned, this is set up for 2 players. So each player has a starting building along with a capitalist card. So this is like a person that they're basically playing as that gives them special abilities throughout the game. They also start off with auction tokens, and then because we are doing a 2-player game, there's actually a dummy player that you have to play with if you are playing with 2 players. 3 or 4 players, you do not have to use this, but I kind of wanted to showcase a little bit so you kind of understand how to play this game with 2 players. We are going to be giving the red player this first player token here, indicating that they will be first player for this round. And now we are set up and ready to play a game of Furnace. In Furnace, games are played over 4 rounds. Up here on this corner of the board is a little round tracker to help keep track of the rounds, and then each round will consist of 2 phases, an auction phase and then a production phase. During the auction phase, starting with the first player, players will take turns setting out these little auction discs on the available buildings that are currently shown on this board here. So for example, let's have our first player place their 3 token on this building here. Now it is going to be the second player's turn, and they will place their 4 right here. And now because we are doing a 2-player game, it will be this kind of like fake player. And so the fake player will always go last, and when it is their turn, you roll the dice. And how you go about managing them is you take their lowest number of auction, like the auction disc, and you place it on the card number. So for example, we will place this one right there. Now, something to know about the auction phase is when you are going about doing this, placing, whatever tokens of yours you want on the specific locations, there are a couple rules that you need to follow. So the first rule is there can't be any discs belonging to the same player on one card. So because number 1 has already voted, because the white player has already voted on this building right here, now this player cannot place another disc on that card. The next thing that can't happen is that no 2 discs with the same value can be on one card. So for example, this move would not be allowed because there was already a 3 on that card. So players will continue to do this, just go round and round in clockwise order, placing all of their bets on all of the available buildings until there are no more bets to be placed. So let's fast forward to that point. So now that the bidding part of this auction phase is over, now we go on to compensation. So what that basically means is you go through and you will start activating these cards left to right. And how you go about activating them is whoever bid the highest number actually gets to win this company. Now, whoever underbid, so whoever placed a bid that was underneath whoever won it, gets to collect the resources at the top. And what makes this game interesting is that they get to collect those resources based on the number, or they get to collect that amount based on the number that they bid. So this card, for example, the red player won this card because they had the highest bid, so they get to win this company card. And then the dummy player actually would collect, if it was a real player, they would collect 2 coal, but since it's a dummy player, nothing happens. So the red will go ahead and then collect this building, placing it beside their others. Now we move on to the second card. So the white player won it, and the red player now gets to convert an iron into an oil up to 2 times because they bid 2. So they get to do that action if they want to. The white player then gets to collect that card. Once you've gone through and resolved all the cards, then that means the auction phase is officially over, and now we move on to the production phase. So let's chat a little bit about what the production phase is. During the production phase, players resolve their company cards, which allows them to gain or process resources, basically just trying to gain money. This is nice because this happens all simultaneously, so all players are kind of doing this at the same time. The company cards must be resolved one by one, and each card can only be activated once per production phase. The cards can be activated in any order, but once you start resolving your next card, you can't go back to previous ones. Even if like your previous cards were not already resolved. So let's kind of quickly go through a round. So everybody starts with a company. This is like a starting card that everybody starts with. And your starting card allows you to kind of do some things that the other ones don't. So let's kind of quickly show that. So for example, if I were to start the production phase and I were to start producing my cards or activating my cards, something that I might want to do is I will bring this card down showing that I'm going to be activating it, and then you basically do whatever is listed. So for this card, I would actually gain an upgrade token. So I'd come up to the top of the board, gain an upgrade token, and I'll again add that with the rest of my supply. Something now I can do is I can actually spend that upgrade token along with a coal that I was able to start with at the beginning of the game to upgrade one of my other cards, basically flipping these cards over onto their better side. So all of these cards have like a grayed out ability at the bottom. What that is showing is that's showing the upgraded side. I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I will go ahead and spend this upgrade token along with this coal, which again I will return back to the general supply, and I'll be able to upgrade this card for its better ability. So now moving forward, I don't currently have any coal or oil in my reserve, but in the future, if I did have those, then I could spend those up to 2 times to gain 6 coins. But I don't right now. It's the first round of the game. So what I'm going to be doing is I'll just activate this card and I will gain an iron here. And then I'll activate this one and gain another iron as well. Again, because it's the first round of the game, I don't really have much of an engine right now, but I was able to activate a handful of my cards. And so I'm going to finish my production phase now, and I'm going to be done with that phase of the game. Again, I know I already kind of mentioned this, but something to keep in mind while you are playing are your personal power abilities. So for example, what I could do is once per production phase, I could spend 2 coal to resolve one of my cards again. Again, normally, like I had already mentioned, you can only resolve these cards once, but because of my special ability, I actually could spend 2 coal to reactivate one of my buildings. So that's just something to keep in mind while you're playing throughout the game. Once players are done activating all of their cards, they reset, and then new company cards get flipped over and displayed along this top row here. The round marker then gets changed to the next round, and then the game repeats. This process will again repeat over the 4 rounds, which are indicated right here, and whoever has the most money at the end of the game will win. All right, so I really hope that overview kind of gives you a general idea of how this game plays. One of my favorite parts about this game, and something that constantly made me want to pull it out and play it again, was this auction down here. I really love how when you do not win the particular location based on the number that you put down. So for example, this 2, if I put that on this building, you know that you're not going to win it, but you get to do that ability at the top that many times.
I also really enjoyed the auction portion of this game. It is a really interesting auction concept, the ability to get what you want, but then you might be going for a certain card, and like you might think you're going to get a card, but then someone else puts it, or like especially when we played with a dummy player, there would be a card I would put down, I'm like, okay, or a token I would put down, I'm like, okay, I want this card, hopefully I'm gonna get it, but then when we would roll for the dummy player, and then I would be blocked, and I was just like, oh, so frustrating, but like in a satisfying kind of way. There's just that interesting dynamic that happens between the players where you are placing your tokens, you're making your bids, and you're trying to think about how each of these cards can affect your future rounds.
And there's tension really up until like the last person places. I feel like throughout the entire auction process, there's that tension of, okay, I really want that card, but I already placed my 4. So I'm going to place my 3 and just hope that nobody else wins that. But even if they do, again, you get to do that ability. But there were some times where I was like just praying that nobody placed a 4, like where I placed a 3, because I really, really wanted that card.
I also enjoyed the strategy of deciding when to place the numbers. Like, do I place my 1 first somewhere, or do I place my 4 somewhere? Because you can be blocked. Like, if I don't place my 1 when I want to, and someone else places a 1, then I can't take that card as a 1 anymore. So I liked that strategy of thinking about when to place each number and how that's going to affect my future possible turns. One of my other favorite things about this game was how quick and easy to learn it is. Like, there's strategy and there's thinking. Like, one of the people we played with, he was like, this is a very thinky game. And it is. Like, there's a lot of like moments where you have to really think about what you're doing, but it's not hard to teach and it's not hard to learn. And it's a great game that I think you will bring out to the table pretty frequently because of how quick and easy to learn it is.
I completely agree with Kim. When we sat down and played this a handful of times, and then I came home and I actually played with my husband, and it was so nice to be able to sit down and literally teach this game in like 3 minutes. I sat down and was like, okay, you do this and this and this and this, go. And then we went and we played, and the game itself is very fast. Yeah. Like, you move through your, like, it's only 4 rounds, and each round is very fast, because literally all you do, as I could talk about in the overview, is you auction, and then you go through, and everybody activates all of their cards, and then you're on to the next round. And so for a game that is as quick as it is, I am impressed at how much thinkiness and how crunchy it is for a game that is really so simple to teach and simple and quick to play.
One of the other things that I liked about this game is that it does play well at a 2-player game and 3-player and 4. So we haven't played it 5-player, which I believe the expansion allows it to play as 5-player. But oftentimes in games when they add a dummy player, like, I'm like, no, I don't want to do the dummy player. Like, it's not worth it being a 2-player game. Like, let's just save that game for when more people are at the table. But Carly and I played it as a 2-player, and we added the dummy player, and it actually like worked out really well. Like, I enjoyed it just as much as a 2-player game as I did when we played it 4 players. The dummy served its purpose. It blocked me several times. And I wasn't able to necessarily do the turn that I wanted. But again, like I said before, it wasn't like, it was frustrating, but in a satisfying kind of frustrating way.
It really did like simulate another player.
Yeah.
Very well. And so I feel like some like dummy players, or, you know, ways you go about doing 2-player modes, sometimes it doesn't simulate that second or that third player as well. And this one, it definitely did. It helped clog up the board. And like I said, it helped add that tension, because there were multiple times where Kim was like, oh, I'm for sure going to win that card. And then literally the last turn, he'll like swoop in and take that card, which totally screwed Kim over multiple times.
So frustrating.
I really liked the variable player powers. It just kind of helped add a little bit, I don't know, a little bit more to the game. It was fun to be able to, like, I know when we first played, you had the ability that gave you like an extra disc to bet with. And so I don't know, it's just fun because it adds a little bit more to the game. And it's fun just to kind of see what other people are able to do.
We also thought that this was like a really fun way to keep track of, I don't know if you can see it, what I'm doing, but it's like a fun way to keep track of the rounds. And I haven't seen that before. Usually you just have like a little thing you move or whatnot.
Well, again, it feels mechanical. And again,
it's like a gear.
Yeah,
you're turning.
And it just helps tie into the theme. And for me, restart. So for me, the theme in this game, I actually really like, because it is, in a sense, a very dry engine building game, kind of. And the theme is almost very like dry, industrial. I don't know. So for me, I actually really liked the theme in this game.
The final thing that I really liked about this game, we already talked about like the bidding, and that we both really liked that. Another thing that I liked about the bidding part of the game, the bid, then the production, I liked the two different phases of the game. I liked that the first phase has like this interactive, you're interacting with the other players, there's some tension, you're like, what's gonna happen? Am I gonna get my card? And I liked that player interaction. But then you go from like this player interaction to going to your own like part where you're building your engine, and then you're like in your own solo game for a little bit. And I liked that balance, I guess, of jumping back and forth to being like, okay, interacting with people, and then, oh, what am I going to do here? How am I going to figure this all out? What is the puzzle? How am I going to produce what I need to produce? And I liked that I could just do it, and we were all doing it at the same time, so it's super time efficient.
So fast.
Yeah. And fast, and it was just exciting to see, like, once we all finished that, like, oh, where did we all end up that round, and who got what points? And I thought that was a really interesting aspect for a game. I don't know if I've played one quite like that so much, where you're like so interactive to being solo.
And then back to interactive. Yeah.
So I really enjoyed that part of the game.
All right, so now we're going to kind of share and talk about some of the things that we might not have liked as much, or stuff that we could see others potentially not liking. And I kind of wanted Kim to start this one off, because there's something that Kim feels very strongly about, which I agree. I agree with Kim.
Okay, so the thing, you'll notice this beautiful neoprene mat here that Carly has to help display the game. It does not come in the game.
When and let's clarify.
Yes.
No mat comes with it. Nothing.
Yes.
Literally nothing. No cardboard version of this. Nothing like this comes with the base version of the game.
Yeah, and I was like a little maybe angry at Carly for like, I'm like, we should have played it without the mat first, because now I'm super biased towards this mat, and I feel triggered knowing that this game does not come with this mat. Like, why wouldn't you just include this mat? And then I was comparing it to Flamecraft, which has like this gorgeous neoprene mat. And that comes in the box, and you can get Flamecraft right now for like under $40, I think.
Yeah.
And this game is comparable price, $40, I think, and no mat. And then I was comparing it to this tree,
like the Everdell tree.
No, not Everdell tree. The other one by the Arcane Wonders that we played.
The Four Gardens.
Yes, Four Gardens. Okay, Four Gardens I think is also comparable price to this, right?
Yes, yeah.
But Four Gardens comes with this really cool like
Pagonia thing.
But yeah, I'm like, what is? Don't mind my hand movements, but like that is like a cool thing that it comes with. And I was very disappointed that this mat does not come with it, especially in terms of like the symbols and the cards. Like, I mean, yeah, I can figure out that this means oil and it matches this little yellow can, but like having it on here on this picture like just made it so easy to know
and
exactly
it's so
what I needed.
Quick.
Yeah.
So when you're activating, you really don't have to think about it too much, because again, it does sound silly, but it really does help you.
Yeah,
just
it
kind
does.
of quickly matching things and being able to, quickly throw things back, because when you're activating, when you're going through and like activating all of your buildings, I mean, for me at least, we were doing it pretty quick. Like we were like activating stuff, throwing stuff around. So it was nice just to have like designated spots for these items. So I don't know, stuff didn't get mixed up as much, and it was just like less that you kind of had to think about, because it is a very thinky game. And so yeah, just being able to match up symbols really quick. Like I cannot, now that we've played with this mat, like I cannot imagine not ever playing with this mat.
Yeah. And we did play it without the mat, and it was fine. Like, yeah, okay. But I don't know.
Generally, I enjoyed the game less without
yeah.
that. I know that sounds stupid.
No, but artwork really and pieces and components matter.
Yeah.
They really do matter for a game.
I feel like if you were just to buy this game and not have any sort of mat, it would feel unfinished to me. And I feel like that's kind of my issue without any mat or any cardboard, anything. I would definitely recommend getting this mat for this game, because I feel like it does help with, a lot of different stuff with the game. But yeah, I wish more than anything that it was just included in the game, especially for the price.
Yeah.
Because again, if this is on sale, then I like it's fine without the mat. But if you really do buy this like at that $40 price point,
Yeah.
that's crazy to me that there's nothing like this that's included in this game, because there's really not a lot of components. It's really just cards and a couple of other stuff. So I'm surprised that the price point is that high.
Yeah.
When there's nothing like this included.
And the mat was about $10, right?
Yeah.
And like,
So that would put that at a $50 game
Yeah.
if you were to buy this and then the mat. And that's a lot personally for me. Like if you get it on sale, then I think that's great, but that's a lot. Yeah.
but that being said, I did end up recommending this game to one of my sisters that very night because she asked for a recommendation for a game that was like about 20 minutes. And I was like, oh, we just played this game called Furnace, and it was a lot of fun, and it was only about 20 minutes. So, yeah, I'm disappointed about the mat, but I do still recommend the game.
Yes, absolutely. So I know this was on one of the things that Kim really liked about the game. I don't necessarily dislike this, but I think this is more something that I could see others disliking. Is, like Kim said, the auction, it's very interactive, very, very interactive. And then when the auction is over, you turn down to your board and you guys are all kind of doing your own thing. So it's like, so-and-so could be over there doing, I don't know what.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There's a little bit of an honor code.
Yeah, and like I could, like, people aren't double checking me to make sure that like I'm doing stuff right. And so because of that, I could see that potentially being something that people dislike about this game, is because, people could be doing whatever you want and you're just kind of like, okay, like I hope you're really doing that. There's just kind of no way to, because it is all simultaneous, there's no way to really check up on others to make sure that everybody's are doing things correctly and activating things the way that they should. Another thing that I can see potentially being an issue with this game is I can see how people could play this game and think, oh, it's kind of too repetitive. For me personally, I don't find it repetitive because I feel like every time you're getting different cards and you're kind of building slightly different engines. But I could see how people could play this a couple of times and be like, okay, that was fun, but I don't really need to dive back into it again. I do see how it can feel a little bit samey game to game.
And then one of the things that Carly mentioned that she really liked that I wouldn't necessarily say it's a dislike, but while I really like the artwork and how the artwork ties into the theme of the game, the theme itself doesn't really come out in the actual gameplay for me. Like when we went to sit down to start this review, we were like, what is the story of this game? Like, what is it? We gotta remember. And so like the theme doesn't really come across in terms of like what I'm actually doing. I suppose if I like were to think about it more, I could see, oh yeah, I see how I'm like, I can't even remember what we're building. Yeah, we're capitalists. Like that's how much like it falls flat a little bit for me. And I think probably other people would disagree with me. I think my husband would disagree because he's an engineer and he really liked this game and I think he felt the theme in it. But for me, who knows not much about engineering and being an industrial corporation and whatever else this has to do with the game, the theme just wasn't super strong and the mechanics and the gameplay for me.
All right, so we are going to be sharing our final thoughts and ratings for this game. So do you want to start? Do you want me to start?
You go for it.
Just go for it. Okay. So I have a feeling that I'm going to be a lot higher than you. I really, really liked Furnace. And when I first opened it up and we started playing it, like our very first round, I was like, I'm not so sure. But then like the more we played and the more I just loved the engine building behind this. And I loved the puzzle behind the auction and the activating your cards. Like it was something that I've played this many times over, the last handful of weeks. And I don't know, something about it just keeps drawing me back. And I really just love the puzzle behind it. So for me, I'm actually going to be giving Furnace an 8.5. I said I really, really enjoyed all of my plays.
I really enjoyed this game, so much so that like I said before, I did end up recommending it to my sister that very night after we played it, and I would recommend it to all of the viewers and subscribers to this channel. It's a lot of fun. I really liked how quick and easy it is to play, and I can teach it to people at board game night easily. So that being said, I wouldn't say it's like one of my favorite games ever, but I do enjoy it. and I'm coming in at a 7.5 for the game. But I dock it 0.5 to 7 because
of the mat.
Because of the mat, and yes, that, like I said, I was very triggered when I realized that.
I feel like you're still triggered.
I am. I'm still like I was flabbergasted. So I joked with Carly that very night. I'm like, it would be this rating, but because of this, it's this rating.
So is your final rating a 7 or 7.5?
I'll leave it at a 7.5 because I do really like this game, and I think it's a great addition to anyone's board game collection, especially when you want to have a quick and easy game to learn or get out on the table.
So those were our thoughts on Furnace from Arcane Wonders. If you have personally played this game, please let me know in the comments below your own thoughts on it. We love reading through and reading all the comments and what everybody thinks about the games.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
You should just be my like and subscribe.
Yeah. Push that like button.
Push that like button. Yes, if you are watching this video and you enjoyed it and you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, it would mean so much to me. It really helps support us and everything that we're doing on the channel. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Furnace. In Furnace, you'll be taking on the role of a 19th century capitalist. Industrial corporations. Okay. I don't know why this theme is hard for me to explain. So in Furnace, players will take on the role of 19th century capitalists purchasing... Okay, what is it? 19th century capitalists building corporations and trying to make as much money. Okay. In Furnace, players will take on the roles of... that are trying to... Oh my goodness, why can I not say that?
That are trying to what?
Building corporations.
Building their industrial corporations and aspiring to make as much money as they can.
Okay, let's try this again. Okay.
Sorry, did my nerves rub off on you?
No, you're good.